This is the Speaking of Writers podcast. I'm Steve Richards. This podcast goes behind the pages with the storytellers who inspire, challenge, and entertain us. Today I'm joined by a debut author, Allie Oleander, whose sizzling and emotionally charged novel, Willing Prey, is one of the most talked about dark romances of the fall season. Allie's book is a bold blend of spice and sweetness, a primal, heart-pounding story about desire, trust, and transformation. It follows Claire Collins, a PE teacher who, after a divorce and mounting debt, enters a provocative 30-day arrangement with a man whose hidden wildness matches her own. What unfolds is a chase of body and soul where boundaries, passion, and power are constantly tested. Let's dive in with Allie Oleander. First off, congratulations on your debut.
Hi, Steve. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's great to have you here. So, how does it feel to finally have Willing Prey out in the world and connecting with readers?
Oh, it has just been so exciting. Getting all the DMs on Facebook and emails and just seeing everybody posting about it and reading has just been so exciting.
What first inspired you to write this story? Was it a character, a scene, or a particular theme you wanted to explore?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, so this one kind of came to life because I was wanting to write something where we had characters who were like in their mid 30s and up, kind of like exploring new sexual interests and also like growing as people and just kind of showing that like okay like you don't stop learning, growing, and becoming a new person, or maybe like exploring different aspects of yourself just once you hit a certain age. um and then I just really wanted to write something that was kind of fun and escapism, and so it all just kind of came together in like a big tangle in my head and just evolved from there.
As a debut author, what was the biggest surprise you encountered during the writing or publishing process?
During the publishing process, something that was just so surprising to me is I'm kind of a little pessimist person in that I'm always like, oh, plan for the worst case scenario. And so I had all these worries in my head, and I did not think about all the ways it would be really fun publishing, and getting to meet so many new people and just getting out there and being able to talk to more readers and designers and cover designers and the team and everything. It just has been so much more fun that way than I ever expected, just that it's been a really good time.
Willing Prey, as I mentioned in the introduction, has been described as the perfect mix of spicy and sweet. How do you find that balance between the darker primal elements and the emotional intimacy that grounds the story?
That was a lot of trial and error because you have this vision in your head that I'm like, okay, I want this to feel, to have the kind of fun, edgy, sexy, like, oh no, this is kind of thrilling, this is kind of scary and intense, maybe in these moments like heart pounding. But then I also wanted to make it clear that it's very consensual. It is also like there's a sweeter side to it along the way. And so it's like I have this vision in my head, but the hard part is going, is what's in my head getting into someone else's head. So that's where I had like friends who were alpha readers who would really help me, and they would read a scene or two and just like give me their feedback on it so I can make sure like tonally it's hitting where I want it to. Because just because it makes sense in my mind, I have the whole story. It doesn't mean it's gonna hit the right way for them.
The setup, a 30-day chase for $30,000, is both daring and deeply psychological, too. How did you develop the dynamic between Claire and Shane?
That was really fun to do. And since so much of the story does take place like in the woods during the chase and during the hunt, I tried to be very intentional about like the different physical acts that they do and how they kind of play with each other throughout the hunt. Like there's a point where Claire gets brave enough and comfortable enough with Shane to where she's like, "Oh, I'm, mini spoiler, going to be sneaky and try to like, outsmart you, maneuver you." So we kind of see like how they start at the beginning and they're both kind of maybe a little more uncertain with each other. And Shane's bringing like a very like dominant, serious, like non-emotional energy to it. And Claire's excited for it, but she's also like a little nervous because she doesn't know this man. And then you watch them kind of like grow into themselves each hunt by hunt. The dynamics just kind of change a little bit and things maybe become more playful. Like Shane becomes like a little more softer and Claire becomes bolder. So it just kind of carefully, little baby steps towards the direction of building that romance and connection.
Consent and boundaries are big in this story. How important was it for you, Ellie, to portray clear communication within such an intense fantasy?
That was super important to me. That was actually another one of those when I'm talking about my big story tangle that got me started. That was an element I was really passionate about bringing in was that consensual element. Because okay, we know in fiction, like you'll see all kinds of things. And that's the point of fiction is you can read like non-con and dub-con and all that. But for this story in particular, I was like, the way I want it to be is it has to be so consensual and clear. Um, and that's why I played a lot with establishing their power dynamic. Like we do very much have this like financial transaction going on, but that was something I really liked about bringing the contract element into it too, is we can see like for Claire, this is not someone who's being taken advantage of. Like she knows what she's walking into. She has literally read out, how this is going to go. And so that helped a lot, I think, in just terms of balancing it, is there was no like trickiness to it. It is all very upfront with each other and how this is going to play out, and everyone is very happy to be there and enthusiastically consenting.
Claire is such a powerful heroine, confident, playful, but emotionally layered too. What do you admire most about her as a character?
Something that I really, it was fun to put in Claire because it was something that I think that I would like to be more of it myself. And I think a lot of my friends of women who would feel the same way is just she is very, and she becomes more so over the course of the story, unapologetic in who she is and what she wants. And we see her kind of grow into that version of herself even more throughout it. And I do think that is a big one because, you're socialized sometimes, I think, as a woman to, like be a certain way or always be sweet or always be smiling and put everyone else first. And so it was satisfying to get to see her go, okay, no, I can ask for what I want. I can do for what I want and like be confident in herself and her own wants and that they're just as valid as anyone else's.
And what about Shane? He's feral but vulnerable too. What was your approach to writing a hero who's both predator and partner?
He was another fun one too, because with him, I was trying to kind of bring in this aspect of we have someone who like, because we touched lightly on his background growing up, and you see like, okay, like he wasn't in a home environment where he was comfortable being able to express himself like emotionally. So as a result, you have someone who's maybe like very competent in their work, but they are not super comfortable in being vulnerable emotionally just because you don't get to practice it as a child. It's not something you're magically going to learn how to do as an adult. And I think we get to see as the book goes on, like there is that sweetness inside of him that he's just never felt comfortable being able to show. And so it was kind of, he has to learn to open up too and become more vulnerable because I think especially like for people, like if you're very competent in some areas, like at work, to then admit and go, wow, I'm really struggling in this other area. Like that's a big vulnerability to say, oh, I'm going to try to communicate with you emotionally effectively, but I don't know if I'm going to do a good job. I might mess it up. I might make you mad or hurt your feelings. So we have to see him be vulnerable too and do that, which was a lot of fun to write.
Romance readers love stories of transformation. What do Claire and Shane each learn about themselves through this experience?
I think in Claire's case, she learns that she is she doesn't need to hide who she is in terms of being good at what she's good at and liking what she likes and her personality. Like she's okay to be competitive and aggressive and all these things that maybe she felt like she couldn't be. And with Shane, we see that he doesn't always have to be perfect and fit into this box of, Mr. Together, high power lawyer, all this. It's okay for him to try to become a better version of himself, and that's going to mean messing up as he learns to express himself emotionally. So he gets to kind of like he has space with Claire to make mistakes and learn and grow the way we all do when we're learning how to communicate better with a partner.
Did you always envision Willing Prey as your debut novel, or were there other projects before it that helped you find your voice?
Okay, so Willing Prey was originally because this I had published, self-published before it got picked up by Berkeley. Um and I was in the middle of revising a different novel that I originally thought was going to be my debut, but that was a very heavy project. It was like a horror romance. And it explores a lot of like trauma. And I needed a little brain break from that project, which was when I started writing Willing Prey. And then I started just having a really good time, got into it, wrote it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to make this one be my self-publishing debut, and I'm going to learn because there's so many things about publishing you can't learn until you're actually in it. Um, and then so it was just kind of it was a happy moment from there, connecting with everyone and going, okay, no, we're going to take this traditional now. So it was a happy accident.
Happy accident. How did you prepare
Mhm.
to write the more primal, physical aspects of the book? Did you research, workshop, or rely just on instinct?
Ooh, a little bit of everything. Um, I definitely like I love the outdoors and hiking. Like those are my things. So a lot of like the scenery and things, people are like, you can tell you really like the woods when you read this book. And I'm like, yeah, you can, because there's a lot about the trees and the leaves. So all of that like nature aspect, that's very like I actually wrote a lot of the book like sitting in my hammock in the woods. So it's very like in the moment. And as for like the more physical scenes, I am a big horror reader as well. And a lot of like intimate scenes and action scenes are very much similar. You're just bringing different emotions to it, but it's that same
Mhm.
physicality. So then things like that, those like kind of help me tie in.
So, are there plans for a sequel or companion story in the Willing Prey world?
Yes, I am working on book two with Berkeley right now. That is going to follow two of the side characters from Willing Prey. And that will be their story will be up next.
What's one piece of advice you'd give aspiring writers, especially those nervous about writing taboo or boundary pushing stories?
I think the biggest thing is to just really know why you are writing something. Because when you know why you're writing something, you can make sure that you're aligning it with what you're trying to say. And then always bring in other people whose advice you trust to make sure it's landing how you want. Because there was some workshopping like I had to do with Shane, like some things like it came across like too aggressive or too much. So you do always need like that other set of eyes. Because in my head, I can know like, oh, this character's secretly warm and fuzzy, but you have to make sure it's getting to the reader. So, and just that really clear picture of this is the message I am trying to convey, and then bring in those outside voices to let you know, okay, you're hitting it, or okay, that's not what I got from this.
What's been the response so far? I know the book just got released.
So far, so good. And fingers crossed they keep loving it. It's just been so fun to have people send me their favorite parts, and everyone's been so supportive and sweet. It's been really exciting.
All right, Allie Oleander, we're going to wrap up with some fun questions to get to
All
know
right.
you a little bit better. Morning writer or night owl?
Both. Just completely depends on how my sleep schedule rolls.
Favorite writing snack or drink?
Okay, it's either Coke Zero or like cold brew coffee with like a ton of chocolate sauce or whatever other mocha flavoring I can put in it. And then to eat, I swear I lived on like the little gummy fruit snacks you give to like little kids during
Hmm.
Willing Prey. Like that book was written on fruit snacks.
The book you've reread the most?
Oh gosh. Hmm. I think the Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig, that one really just landed for me.
If Willing Prey were a song, what would it be?
Oh, that is such a good question. Hmm. I'm like, I want to say like Bruce Springsteen Born to Run, but it doesn't even make sense. It's just because it has the word run in the title. I would have to circle back to that one. That's a really good one.
All right, dream casting. Who would play Claire and Shane in a movie?
Hmm. I don't know if I could pick that out. I would have to like see them actually reading the lines. The most important thing to me, I think, would be that they're age appropriate. Because I'd be really sad to see them like kind of cast younger. You know what I mean? Because it was
Hmm.
so important that these characters were like 35 and up. But I honestly don't think I could pick. I'm also so sorry. I don't watch a lot of movies, so I am horribly
You'd
out
have
of
to
the
be
loop
there for
here.
the casting call and go through
I
everyone.
would have to be sitting there
Screen
like a
them.
little fly on the wall.
Right
Like, let me get my
age,
two
right.
cents.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
One word that sums up your debut year so far.
Oh, it has been just fantastic.
Mhm.
Absolutely fantastic.
Allie Oleander, the debut novel out now. It's called Willing Prey. It's available now from Berkeley, an unforgettable dark romance that proves desire and trust can be two sides of the same coin. Allie, thank you so much for joining me.
No, thank you for having me, Steve. This was great.
And you've been watching the Speaking of Writers podcast. I'm Steve Richards. For more author conversations, check out past episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Like it, share it, subscribe to it, and write a review too. Thanks for watching. Keep reading. I'll talk to you next time on the Speaking of Writers podcast.